wrong, knew the entire time. You were my dearly beloved. You were my dearly beloved. You were my dearly beloved. You would look into my eyes, saying that you never felt this good. Now I dream of better times, wishing I could hold you close again. So why does it hurt? I left you first, can't admit it to myself. But I guess I was wrong, knew the entire time. So why does it hurt? I left you first, can't admit it to myself. But I guess I was wrong, knew the entire time. You were my dearly beloved. 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 You were my dearly
I'm lost, trying to find who's there for me, but I can't go anymore. I tried to bring my ego down, but in the end, there's no remorse. Don't remind me of these broken promises of love. Don't remind me of these broken promises of love. Nothing at all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the AM Class Race, Race 3, Green Hell Racing, Season 7. We're at Brands Hatch. And what a fantastic Pro Class race. I was able to, I had some things going on today. Was not able to cover that myself. So first of all, thank you to Chief and Red. You guys did a fantastic job. The part I was able to hear, and I appreciate them being able to jump in there and handle that to make sure everybody gets to see as much of the action as possible. Fantastic. But we talk about the race itself. What an awesome race, right? Nat JB closing the gap from 15 seconds all the way down to end up finishing behind Bo Cardinal with only 0.7 seconds between them. That is fantastic. And with that said, AM class race is going to be starting soon. I'm hoping it's going to be just as good a racing. We usually can expect that from our AM race guys. And if y'all just give me 1 minute, you'll notice that I had no setup for this week because, Paul Ricard's still up there, right? Is that Paul? Yeah, it's still Paul Ricard. So, I should probably take that away because, well, why not, right? However, quick here before we get into the AM race, I was able to quickly dig up a track guide for Brands Hatch to give everybody a show of what is going to happen as we watch our drivers today.
Hello and welcome to today's lap guide at Brands Hatch on ACC. I'm going to be driving the Lexus, and to start off with your lap, stay in the middle of the track, and up here you want to look for the braking mark on the left, which is that board. You want to brake just before that, and when you're braking into this corner, stay in the middle of the track, and eventually around about here you want to lift off and coast your way towards the apex of the corner, and I wouldn't suggest hitting the curb like I do because it unstabilizes the car. Accelerate and don't run into the sand because they'll slow you right down. For the next corner you want to use this orange marking on the fence as your braking marker and brake just before then, aim straight for the apex, trail brake, and once you start straightening up you can accelerate again, use a little bit of curbing on the exit. Down here you want to brake as this curbing starts, and don't hit this curbing on the inside because that'll unstabilize the car as well, and you also don't want to run too wide on exit because you will your lap will be invalidated. Now on to one of the trickier corners on the circuit, there's a board on the right. You want to brake a little bit after that, aim straight, go out wide, make your way towards the inner side of the corner late, and then start accelerating, and don't run too wide on exit because it's quite bumpy and you'll lose a lot of time. Now we can breathe for a little bit and make our way to the next corner, which is a fast one. There's a board you want to look for on the left, you'll see on screen, and you want to brake just before it and aim towards the middle of the corner, and another sort of mid-corner apex, accelerate when you get to that apex. For this corner you also want to use the board as a braking mark. You want to brake just before it, use all the curbing on this inside here, and you can use quite a lot on the exit as well. Now we make our way down the hill again, then back up, and you want to go straight to the outside and brake between these two orange marks on the fence, right in the middle, and then go right over this curbing on the inside because that's your best line. Don't go into the grass because that'll stuff you up. Back to the right, brake just before this board, and you're going to keep right on the inside, carry your speed, and don't run off the track on exit again. And now we make our way down to the last corner, which is fairly easy. You want to brake just before this board, trail brake a little bit, coast a tiny bit, and then just on exit you want to start accelerating. You might get a little bit of oversteer, but you can catch it. Don't run too wide. And now we make our way down to the finish line, and on this lap I performed a time of a 1 minute 23.2 with a few less mistakes and just overall cleaner lap. You could probably get into the 1 minute 22s. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this guide. Let us know what else you want to see on ACC in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
That's that from Unleashed Drivers over on YouTube. Definitely recommend their videos. I think I mention this every week. They've got track guides for pretty much everything in ACC. Excuse me, probably some other games as well, other sims as well. But they're short, they're concise, they get you through a lap, so it's not one of those 20-minute things you got to sit and watch. Unless that's your thing, then by all means, go and grab it. Haley, welcome to the race. Yes, Wanker Gang for life. So happy to be here. And again, fantastic job to Chief and Red on the pro race today. I'm just happy I was able to jump in here for the AM class race and be able to provide some commentary. So, since those guys are both going to be racing. So we are just going to sit for a minute, folks, and wait for qualification to get going. Again, if you want to watch today, some of the AM-class drivers are going to be out there. Pizza Man Pete, he's already run. Fife has already run. But Chief Blaze, I'm sure, will be streaming his race. I don't know if Red will or not, but I've tried to put up here as many guys as I could. A lot of these guys are pro. Not a lot of the AM guys do stream, but you can always run multitwitch.tv to get that going. Bruh, my pedals. Does that mean you're not racing today, Chief? Or you are racing? Or how's that going to work? As I go in and work on audio because my mic is driving me insane. It's really bothering me. If they work. Well, hopefully you'll be running with us, man. Everybody likes watching Chief Blaze run, and I especially enjoy doing my best to give him the commentator's curse at every opportunity. Every opportunity. BB won't be driving with us today. That's too bad, but hopefully we're going to have as full a grid as possible. We lost a lot of folks to the Euro Championship today, UK versus Italy, and we will see how that shakes out. England going in with a 0.5 spread to come out ahead. So, and again, to anybody who wasn't here earlier, the pro race, you really missed something good. I suggest you jump over to Chief's channel and go watch that replay. Nat JB and Bode Cardinal, the parts I was able to catch, because I couldn't be sitting down and watching the whole time, but the parts I was able to catch were just fantastic. Bode Cardinal and Nat JB just pushing it right to the end with a 15-second gap, my understanding was at one point, and then Nat JB able to close that gap to finish the race only 0.7 seconds behind Bode Cardinal. That is just some fantastic racing. So excellent job from our pro drivers today. And again, I think we're going to get to see the same thing from the AM class as well. Chief never answered my question. I was in his chat for a few minutes there towards the end. And what I did notice about the pro race is that there were 4 Bentleys up front. All 4 of the people in the top 4 were all in Bentleys, if I recall. At least they were at one point. The top 4 drivers were in Bentleys. Chief drives the Bentley, and yet we never see him at the front of the pack. And I was a little concerned as to why, and thought maybe it was time for him to change vehicles. But that's up to him. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe he will it after this season. And I am going to try and get into the server. No one else has joined yet, so we are sitting back on that. But hopefully as people start to join, I'll be able to move things around. We'll see what happens. So how's everybody else doing today? Are there any pro drivers in the chat? Give us a rundown. Stolowski, any of you guys around? See McAlpin in there hanging out. Chief Blaze, BB Lightfoot. Guess I jumped a little early. I figured we'd be ready to rock and roll here, but the looks like the drivers' meeting has ended. So we should start seeing people join here soon as we head back in. And I have to retype the password because I'd hate to have a password saver in ACC. I mean, it doesn't have FOV adjusters, doesn't have anything else, so I don't know why that surprises me. But you'd think you could tag favorite servers and save passwords, but maybe not. You never know. Okay. Sorry, folks, just a little trouble setting up today. Hey, Namaste Maru. Thank you, man. I'm glad to be back. I had to miss that pro race. I'm a little disappointed because it looked like it was just fantastic. So, the server got bounced. That's why. So I'm waiting for the server to come up at this point. But glad to have you here, Namaste. And again, kind of disappointed that I missed out on that first race, but understandable, given that had family things going on, right? Real life has to take over once in a while, so we will let that happen as we wait and see if the server is going to come back up here soon, I would hope. You gotta love G-Portal servers because they're just ridiculous. I have no doubt there was a setting somewhere that was sideways, so. Chief, that's not going to play, man. See, I'm not even going to fall into your trap, sir. You're just trying to goad me, and I'm not going to be goaded on a live stream. I mean, this isn't an SRO race with thousands of people watching, but I'm just not gonna let you goad me into something, man. It's just you need to worry about whether or not your pedals are going to work today and whether or not you can actually drive without spinning out, hitting somebody, whatever it is you do, because I don't know, you're never at the front of the pack. That's my only point. So it makes me sad. Perhaps you did, sir. Perhaps you did. There we go. Server is up. We will get in there here in just a second. And let's go watch qualifying. Now, I am not even sure, to be honest, exactly how long qualifying is. 15-minute qual. Okay. And let me get in here and make some adjustments because the audio is just ridiculous from the game. We want to bring that down a little bit. There we go. We're going to take a look and see who is racing today. So first into the server and out on track right now, Dan 00 Alpha. BK Ferrari, we've got Red Rider and Chief Blaze both in there. Kipster in the Audi. Whoops, we don't want to do that. Kipster in the Audi today. McAlpin, blah, blah, blah. Teehee, It's Lit Fam, and Pierre all joining our AM class race, and we'll see if we have any more late joiners. Again, given that the Euro final is today, I think it explains a little bit of the smaller field that we have in today's race versus others. But I got to say, Brands Hatch, absolutely one of my favorite tracks. Much like Spa, I mean, I think this is second only to Spa when we talk about ACC. It's the, and I've started to figure this out about myself. You know, a track like Paul Ricard, I think I mentioned last week, I absolutely despise. And I just don't like it. Don't know why, but I just don't like it. And I think it's because it's so flat. It's just so flat that it doesn't, and obviously it's difficult. I'm not saying like, oh, it's boring as in I'm so good at it I can close my eyes and try. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's just very boring. A track like Brands Hatch, a track like Spa, Bathurst even, I could see, you know, with more practice on it, I could see myself falling in love with Bathurst. And it's the elevation changes, right? It's the three-dimensional driving versus two-dimensional, obviously meaning left, right versus up, left, right, and up and down. So really, this is one of my favorites. So Dan out in the McLaren today. BK Ferrari, number 77, driving the Porsche. Red Rider in his blood-spattered Lamborghini. And followed right now by...
Dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Yo, C, what are you doing, man? Everybody here for some racing today? Yo, thank you so much for the raid, my man. 7 people. If you watch C, if you don't watch C, y'all need to jump over and follow this kid. Yo, seriously, he's off the chain. Like, it doesn't matter what he's playing. He's having fun. He's having a blast. He's yelling at shit. He's talking to the game. He's like, and he's interacting with people. It's just a fun stream, man. C is awesome. Go take a look at Sim having fun. Guy's great. As we continue down through the order here, Chief Blaze in his Audi. Dan 00 Alpha setting our first time at a 1:2.83. BK Ferrari and Bleh following right behind him. BK right on that pace, only 4/10 behind. Kipster, again, in that number 7 Audi. McAlpin, second Porsche on the track today. Teehee and It's Lit Fam both driving Ferraris. Teehee always easy to find in that bright red one. And Fam, same thing, nice and colorful. Followed up number 10, last but not least, Pierre in the only Aston on the track today. Blah in his Lexus. Good representation. It's going great, Seaman. It's going awesome. I wasn't able to do the pro race today because I had another obligation, but luckily was able to jump in here for our AM class race and get to see these guys running again. Smaller field today, I think mainly due to the Euro Championship going on. But you know what? We got 10 great drivers, as we watch Pierre decide to go lawn mowing. We got 10 great drivers, and these guys are going to give us a great race today. So again, Dan 00 Alpha right now leading the pack with a 1.283, but Red Rider now putting himself up into second, only 3/100ths off that pace. BK Ferrari still holding on number 4. Tihi and Blah rounding out your top 5, only out to 1.1 seconds. So I'd be curious to see, and Blah just closed it up a little bit with had it into a 1.8 until Ferrari bumps Dan with a 1.27.198. That's our first 1.27 of this race today. Obligations are something. Yeah, you're right. See, then I didn't want to miss it, but Chief Blaze and Red Rider, both of whom are racing right now, did a great job covering that race for everybody. I was able to come down and catch snippets of it. Chief going off something about how I say people's names. I don't know. He had this whole rant thing he was doing. I wasn't even there, so the cat's talking about me behind my back and stuff. I don't like it. It's not nice. It's rather rude, in fact, but it's all right. We're gonna commentator curse him as hard as possible today here at Brands Hatch. McAlpin now jumping himself into the number 2 spot with that Porsche. So as of right now, with 8:40 left in qual, we've got 2 Porsches leading the pack, and we'll see if that flips up. I'm sure it will, with Dan and Tihi both going into the pits to make adjustments to their setups and extract the most speed they can from these vehicles. But our top 5 all within a second and a half of each other, and even number 6 with Blas still within that 2-second time period. Chief, Kipster, and Pierre have not yet set times for us, but plenty of time left to get some laps in. Hey, Barsky, no problem, man. That's what I'm here for. I love doing this. I absolutely love commentating. It's actually going to be hard for me to go back to racing this fall. Once, I'm kind of waiting until my CSLDD comes in before I start racing again. I want to get used to it and then join another season. And it's actually going to be hard because I'm going to be in the AM class and I like covering these races, so it's going to be difficult. Hopefully Red or Chief can bump themselves up to pro by then, and maybe they'll be able to commentate that AM race. So that, or I find myself a co-commentator that can either host themselves or maybe use the channel. I don't know. Just trying to make it as easy for people as possible to catch the racing, because I love putting it out there for you guys that drive. You're all awesome, and you all drive better than me. So, except maybe Chief, he's terrible. Try commentating, but you're bad at it. Listen, see, I can get away with it in this. I still make mistakes, right? I spent an entire race calling the McLaren the Aston, so I mean, I've yet to live that down, I think. But if we take a look, nope, McAlpin's still holding up there, okay. But we do see McAlpin stretched it out to a 1.265, so the times keep coming down. And he did stretch it out enough to where now only the top 2 in the Porsches are within that 1 second mark, right? Ferrari holding on to 0.6, but after that, Dan 00 Alpha still 1.8 off the pace, right along with Red Rider. But no, I get it, man, and I've had some people approach me and say that, they want me to commentate other games. Like I had a buddy that was really interested in me doing League of Legends games. I'm like, dude, I know nothing about this game. This is going to be awful if I do this. I'd have to play it first. You know what I mean? So it's not easy, right? Trying to keep up energy and all that stuff. But dude, you do such a great job on your streams. You're always, and I don't know, people might say this is a bad phrase, but I don't mean it badly coming towards you. You're always hyper, meaning you're always juiced up and ready to go, and you make it fun. So, it's pretty sweet. Red Rider back to the pits, going to make some adjustments. He's back in number 5 right now. Chief Blaze setting a time, holding himself at number 8. And It's Lit Fam 3.2 off the pace, with Pierre yet to set a clean lap for us. But McAlpin still, at this point, I believe the only 126 we got as we take a look, and he is owning all 3 sectors at Brands Hatch by a decent margin across. I mean, again, the total is only 0.6 back, but he's keeping it well down and in on Ferrari, other than maybe in that last sector, right? Last sector's within a 1/10, but the other 2 he's leading by almost half a second, so he's stretched that right out. Especially when you talk about going from a 127.8 to a 128.4, or I'm sorry, 128.1. Not a lot, but enough, right? Chief Blaze now jumping himself quickly towards the top of the pack with 5 minutes left in qualifying. 1.1 off the pace. Probably the best performance we have seen from Chief Blaze in a long time. And I say that not to rip on Chief. I love ripping on Chief, but that's not what this is. What I say is, you know, given I'm saying against last week, because last week Chief was a self-proclaimed like Paul Ricard expert. And so I really honestly expected more there. I know there were some incidents. I really thought he was going to perform really well, but to see him right up there in the top now with a great time, getting pushed to number 4 with Kipster jumping up to number 2 at this point in the Audi. I love seeing my Audi up front, so I'll take that. But still, 1.4 off the pace is not a bad place to be for Chief Blaze to start this race. As we jump out quick to pull our helicopter view for the start of this race with only 4 minutes of qualifying left. Skip AM and go straight to pro. Listen, Barsky, you do not want me in the pro class, sir. Too inexperienced, right? I do my best to race clean. I do my best to stay out of people's way. Like I think what it is I'm too nice for racing. As we watch BK throw it out, we'll take a look at Kipster. McAlpin's brought it down just a little bit to a 126.223 now. So we'll see if anybody can get any closer to him. And we'll see if Chief comes back out, tries to bump himself back up to 2nd or 3rd as well. Red Rider getting pushed down to 6 with Dan Double O Alpha in number 5. Our top 5 all within 2 seconds of each other. And stretched back from there. Pierre still struggling to put together a clean lap. But what I was saying, Varsky, is I just, you know, oh, no, I'm not ready for pro. I don't know that I will ever be ready for pro. I take this very lightly when I race, right? For me, this is for fun. So getting angry, getting upset, even if somebody hits me, yeah, there's that gut reaction right up front that someone ruined your race. I've obviously had that in my past. But after that, I let it go. I just want to race. And at the same token, I don't want to ruin someone else's race. So I'm more likely myself, because I get like, that's where I was saying I think I'm too nice. I'm more likely to give up a position on purpose rather than take the chance that I'm going to slide and screw up your entire race if you're the one coming to pass me, right? I know you're faster. You know you're faster. I'm just going to let you have it. Seriously, just go take it, because go have fun. Because the where I finish, you know, if I was racing today, where I would finish in this top 10 really doesn't matter to me. I'm out there to have fun. You did get punted around like a pinball last week, Chief. I will say that. I still expected better from you, sir. And I apologize, folks. I did not have full screen set yet. Dan Double O Alpha, who opened us up with a 128, quickly putting himself on pole position, now knocked back to number 3rd. Kipster has literally... We got to go look at the timetables, because it looks to me as though Kipster has literally tied McAlpin for 1 and 2 with a 126.178. Kipster owning the first sector, but McAlpin able to hold on in that Porsche for sector 2 and 3. They are literally 0 seconds apart per our timetables, with just over 1 minute left in qual. I don't know. McAlpin and Kipster are both now in the pits. Highly unlikely they're going to come back out. But great to see that they are, you know what, starting 1 and 2, that's the best place, right? Can't complain. There's still nobody in front of either one of them once we get the green lights, and they can open it up together. Porsche versus Audi challenge. Red Rider pulling off track. Setting himself up in number 6 right now as the drivers start winding down. Teehee still out trying to make another lap, bring it inside that 1.9 that he's got right now. Blah and Pham sitting at number 8 and 9, and Pierre sitting back at number 10. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love Pierre. I think he's my favorite driver in AM class, next to myself. I think Pierre drives like I do. I've never really talked to him a lot about it, but I kind of think he drives like I do. I think he drives because... Uh-oh. Did it lock me on number 10? Oh, I'm going to be very upset. Or... okay. Give me 1 second, guys. I seem to have lost control of the game. And my controller is no longer working. Well, that's freaking perfect right before the race starts. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So do I blame the game? No, it's the app. We're going to kill it. Let's get back in there before the race starts. Luckily, we got a full formation lap. Plenty of time. Turn the controller off and on. Yeah, I probably should have tried that first. Pop battery. But that's all right. We can get back in there quick. And again, we've got a full formation lap. Gives us plenty of time to get back in. And luckily... Oh! Excuse me, guys. 1 second. Because when you kill it and start it back up, it's going to get loud. God forbid it remember my sound settings. Alright, return to garage. There we go. We're back. Thank you, Barsky. You know what? Not going to play with it. We'll leave it. We'll keep the bar at the top this time. That's okay for today's stream. That's okay. We'll make it okay. Ah, what the hell? We'll try it again. See if it gives us any grief and aggravation. Alright, we're good. So we're going to lock in on number 5, Teehee. Put us right in the middle of the pack for the start of the race. We do want to see... Whoops, wrong button. We do want to pull back to our helicopter view so we can catch all the action up front. Take 5th. Chief take 5th. Love seeing Chief in 5th. Yeah, BB, I hold on to a helicopter cam for the opening lap just so that we can catch anything that goes crazy in the first turn and during the first lap. After that, we'll bring it down. We'll focus in on the cars. Had some requests last week to go to first-person view behind the dash, so we'll try and do that as well throughout the race as people get close and we start seeing folks running up. What I do love is that it shows Teehee and Blah have both already finished the race, so that's curious. On the leaderboard right there. Yeah, exactly, BB. When it tightens up, we try and, you know, I'll do my best to try and bring it in on the behind the dash view and get as much of the action as we possibly can. Chief with the P&P before the race. Better get on it. Now the cars usually settle themselves once the drivers are done playing with settings. I still see Red, Kipster, and McAlpin torqued up. So there we go. Red just dropped. Usually if you get within too soon of the start, it will force a pit start. So hopefully that doesn't happen today. And we'll also see what happens with Teehee and Blah because, again, they're both showing as checkered flags. So we'll see what happens. But again, McAlpin, Kipster, row 1. Dan Double O Alpha, and BK Ferrari make up row 2 for today's race. Teehee and Blah both in row 3. Chief Blaze starting out next to Red Rider. The rivalry continues, and we will be keeping an eye on these two throughout the course of the race. And It's Lit Fam and Pierre make up row 5 as we get our formation lap started. 3 o'clock in the afternoon race time. 1 hour race this week versus the normal 45 minutes that we run. Strategy becoming very important. How long are your tires going to make it? Oh, and by the way, it's not there now, but it will come up at some point. Once the race starts and I can change cameras and views, we should be able to see it. But track temps today through the roof. Tires are going to blister. Tires are going to wear hard. Brands Hatch already rough on tires. Never mind when you set your track temps up towards 60C, I think, were some of the numbers I was seeing. High 50s, low 60 degrees Celsius. So, we'll see what happens. 48 track temp? Okay, yeah, I can't see it right now, and I won't be able to change cameras. Thank you, Barsky. 48 degrees track temp, even there, wickedly hot. Full sunshine, as we can see, for the next 30 minutes. I don't think we're going to see rain today. We didn't, to my knowledge, see rain during the pro race. And I think this week's race is specifically designed to put those tires to the test and see which drivers only add fuel during a pit stop, and which ones are going to go ahead and make that tire change. This isn't F1 racing. There are no compounds, to the best of my knowledge. Not that I've ever seen. It's dry and wet. That's it. So can you stretch blistered and worn tires for a full hour in temperatures like this? Or do you take the hit on the pit stop and run that at full 30 seconds to make sure you get a good set of tires on for the last half of the race? Stolowski, okay, laugh all you want, dude. I'm telling you right now, first of all, it would not surprise me if pavement made it to 140 Fahrenheit. You've never lived in Florida, obviously, and I know you live in Texas. It's got to happen down there. Number one. Number two, I saw the screenshots. I saw one at one point this week, like 61C was the track temp, so nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. And again, that's track temp, not ambient. There, crazy one. As we see the guys going into double file now. Again, McAlpin and Kipster out front. Porsche versus Audi into T1. Kipster will be on the outside into T1. Both good drivers, both clean drivers for the most part, so it'll be interesting to see what happens up front. Same with all these guys racing this week. We've seen no major incidents, nothing crazy. As we get ready for the green light here at Brands Hatch, 1 hour race. Here we go.
Green light, show them where you go.
Green light, folks. Let's go racing. Kipster able to break it out front real quick in front of McAlpin, taking that front position on the outside going into T1 and able to cut it back in. The hard right-hander at the top of the hill. Red Rider going wide. Teehee still holding on number 5. Chief Blaze cutting in, and it is just going crazy all of a sudden. Let's pull it back and see. Chief Blaze has nosed his way up to, well, let's wait for the thing to settle. Chief Blaze has run real wide. Red Rider now pulling out far. And with the first lap opened up, let's go ahead and take a look. Kipster out front, able to take it in T1 from McAlpin, who's 4/10 behind. Dan 00 Alpha up there, along with BK Ferrari. Chief Blaze obviously not number 5. That would be Red Rider. Things got squirrely quick, but I did not see any real incidents. So, man, I mean, look, that was great. Chief ran hard. We're going to have to go back and maybe take a look. Let's do one of these real quick. I do want to go back and take a look at that opening lap because Chief got himself way up in the pack, but I don't know if he missed a break point and was skittering past people and avoided incidents, or I'm not sure. We'll go back and take a look after the race. But again, Kipster, but McAlpin not going to give up on it, going to stay on him with that Porsche. Dan 00 Alpha at this point a full 1.9 back, but we've already got a battle up front with McAlpin trying to find the gap. Chief Blaze now back in 10th position. The wide corner right where we see Kipster and McAlpin going into now. Chief went way, way wide all the way to that runoff road. You can see the debris laying out there and ended up losing quite a bit of time, obviously. But Kipster able to hold on through those corners and stretch himself out a little bit in front of McAlpin on the long stretch, on the long straight. Now, you know, I don't know a lot, but one thing I do know is that corner that they just went through, that fast corner coming off the straight, the Audi does it it handles it very well. I don't know about other cars, don't drive other cars. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell us. But I will tell you this, the Audi handles that corner very well, and it wouldn't surprise me if Kipster at times is able to stretch that out coming off that straight stretch in the back of the track. Let's take a quick look back through. Dan 00 Alpha holding in third, 2 seconds back off the leaders. BK Ferrari. Blah moving himself up into 5th. Red Rider now into 10th. We missed something somewhere. Red Rider now into 10th. Behind Chief Blaze and Pierre. And again, we're going to grab a replay real quick because we got to go back and take a look at what could have happened to Red in the first 2 laps. And I'm sorry, Red Rider's in 9th behind Chief Blaze. Teehee right up on the back of Fam. Ferrari versus Ferrari coming back down the hill. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Barsky, as we watch Teehee try and make the move coming into the corner on Pham, and he is able to pull that off. Pham going wide and tucking it back in. We've got a car off the side of the track. Was that Ferrari? No. Who was off the side of the track? Certainly none of our leaders. Huh. Maybe I was mistaken. Oh, I wish I had multi-camera in this game. Even on PC, multi-camera would be fantastic. Just a bank of monitors would be the best, Jerry. The best. Kipster still holding on. Now still has McAlpin right there, though. But the two of them have stretched it out over Dan in his McLaren, who seems right now content to just sit back and run. 4.1 behind the leaders, but also 2.3 ahead of BK Ferrari. He's not going to be able to sit on his laurels, but he does have some room there to just concentrate on driving right now. Again, we saw that Teehee made the pass on It's Lit Pham. Pham just went wide. He's got Chief Blaze on him now as Chief comes around the outside, looking to think that big Bentley and capture the inside of the corner. Teehee playing it wide and giving Chief the room to make the move. And Chief Blaze brings himself up into number 6 now. Red Rider right there with him, looking to make the next move on Teehee. And Chief still struggling with that corner. Red and Teehee, we've got an incident right there. The two of them spinning each other. I don't know how many replay slots I have, but we might as well grab him. And Teehee able to get out ahead first, while Red Rider had to recover with Pierre and Blah now. So it looks like Blah was the one we saw off track in the Lexus earlier, now putting himself into 10th. And yeah, Red's going to be upset, but this, we're going to have to go back and review. We got lots to review at the end of this race, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're only 6 minutes in, and obvious incidents that we might have missed involving certain people. Trying to see where folks might have had trouble themselves or where something happened. Kipster now stretching things out, 4.8 over McAlpin. So that's definitely opened up that gap, given McAlpin was running 0.3 the last time we checked on him. Looks like he lost a little bit somewhere and ended up going wide or had an issue some point on the track. That is a wide gap now open to 5.1 seconds. Teehee now out in front, having pulled ahead of Chief Blaze. I apologize, Teehee was up there. It's Pham. I get the two confused because they're both in those Ferraris. But Chief able to hold that position against Pham, putting himself in number 6. And Pham now 9.5 off that pace because of the incident with Red Rider. Blah 1.1 off of him with Pierre. And Red Rider now bringing up the back of the pack. And we'll see if Red can climb his way back towards the front as we take a look at the standings after a little over 7 minutes into the race. What was the question? Stolowski, I don't think there was a question. I think earlier I was saying that I didn't know about other cars because I don't drive other cars really, except maybe the Mercedes. As we watch Pierre go way wide, whether on purpose for Red to let Red by or just missed his marker, Pierre drops himself back to 10th, letting Red Rider scoot on by as we watch as Blaze coming up on the back of It's Lit Pham now. And we will see if we get a battle going on here. I was saying in that fast right-hander coming off of the long straight in the back, the Audi handles it very well. As we watch Black give Pham just a little tap, maybe just a little tap, right? Doesn't look like it screwed with his race much and really messed him up, but Blah giving Pham just a nudge, and dropping back probably to let him keep that position and play nice and fair. But certainly not going to stop racing in that Lexus. Number 101, he will be bringing himself back up towards Fam as soon as possible. As we take a look back, Red Rider, now having gotten around Pierre, trying to close the gap and get up on Blah and Fam now. And we'll continue to watch to see if he can close that up. Kipster running hard today in the Audi. It's always nice to see an Audi at the front of the pack. Dan 00 Alpha has now made his way around McAlpin. We did miss out on that one, but McAlpin's still right there, but still a 9.7 now off of Kipster's pace. Kipster running away with it, trying to stretch it out before we get to the necessity of pit stops. Looks like McAlpin wants to stay with Dan. See if he can close it off. I had no time today due to, again, those other obligations and not being able to get things set up. But Dan 00 Alpha usually does stream. So again, if you guys want to use multitwitch.tv and catch up on his stuff, let's go down to McAlpin now. And I'm going to try and hit the right button so that we can get in the car. Oh. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. 3 different camera buttons you have to hit depending on what you want to do. So let's watch McAlpin with Dan as he makes the move. Got in there just in time. Nice and clean. Dan having to back off for the corner and let McAlpin own it. Goes a little wide. McAlpin not content to stay in third behind Dan. Takes the position back. That's what I'm thinking, BB. He must have slipped because that gap opened up awful fast. Dan going wide, we see in the back there. Letting BK Ferrari sneak around now. Oi, camera's on Xbox. We'll see if Dan can bring it back to Ferrari here on the straight. And we got, you know, we can see up there in the corner, guys, exactly what a mistake can do to you, right? I mean, Dan's currently over 2 seconds, or just under now 2 seconds off his normal pace. So he's made up a little bit of time. Hopefully you're going to be able to stay on the back of BK, not just through this lap, but into the next one, and we can get to see a battle here. But it's you know, it's all it takes, right? One slip, you're in the dirt. You hope to not screw your whole race. You hope to not screw the other guy's race. But at the end of the day, he ended up losing that position over one little error, right? Push a little too hard. As we jump back out just to take a look at the tables. Quick look at the timetables. Kipster owning it with 8 laps in. But BK and McAlpin both in Porsches, looking to make that comeback as we wait for times to come in. Red Rider has now brought himself up on Fam. And again, I'm not Red Rider is not one known to give up. Oh, I apologize, folks. Red Rider not known as one to give up on things. As we continue to watch him. So Kipster still out front. McAlpin still in second, but the gap has opened up now to 10.2 seconds as our last look. Dan 00 Alpha 6 seconds off of McAlpin's pace right now, with BK Ferrari trying to hold with him at 3.2. And BK is off track, giving Teehee the opening. Hopefully we did not miss an incident there, but Teehee now bringing himself up into 4th place after BK took a ride against the wall. Chief Blaze still holding steady in 6th. Nice gaps around him. I mean, look, if I'm Chief Blaze right now, what am I going to do? You know what? I'm going to hold my line. Coming up on BK, and he's hopefully able to make the move and get around him, right? So I just gained a spot. BK made a mistake. Unfortunately for BK, was running some great laps, to Barsky's point. Great laps today, holding the pace, bringing himself up through the paddock and up through the standings. But Chief Blaze now able to make the move after an incident. And we'll see if BK has to head into the pits after this to repair any damage or has any problems. But Chief Blaze running strong today. Again, if I'm Chief, I got what? We'll have to wait for the timing board to refresh here because we don't get live for some reason. But as he comes across, Chief Blaze, okay, so I'm 13 seconds back from Teehee, right? Okay. Maybe I make that up on a pit if I don't have to do tires, and he does. However, either way, and we do say BK now has gone into the pits, obviously going to need to repair some damage. But the next car behind is 12 seconds behind Chief Blaze. So if I'm Chief Blaze right now, what am I doing? Man, I'm driving my race. I'm good with number 5. Obviously, you want to push. You want to try and make up time. We still have pit stops to go through. There's 44 minutes of racing left. But again, how hard do you push? Because I'd rather stay in 5th than slide myself back down to 10th because I overdrove the vehicle. So really, again, this race being an hour, the track temperatures, we're looking at 47 C for track temps. The tires can blister. The tires are going to wear. Brands Hatch, being so vertical, is going to wear on tires anyway. Do you make that tire change, or do you try and get a position or two ahead because, well, you're able to because your tires are holding for you? And as we see, It's Lit Fam has also decided to hit the pits, dropping himself back to number 10. Our driver's well on and spread out today, but Kipster's still holding it strong in the Audi. I love the Audi so much. Chief's doing great today. And don't tell him I said that. He'll say I cursed him or some shit. I don't know what his problem is. Whatever, he's fine. He had a whole rant with me on me during the pro race, apparently, like just lost his freaking mind about how I said TG0198 instead of Tigo. Like, it's not my fault you guys throw a bunch of numbers and crap into your name. Anyway, McAlpin, GTR, if we're using his full proper name, holding steady in that Porsche. Dan 00 Alpha with BK having the incident and has also, though, cleared his pit stop, meaning he is done and will be able to drive for the next 42 plus minutes. And we'll see if Fam does the same thing and is able to come back out on track and clear that stop at the same time. But McAlpin, again, 11 seconds back. Kipster's really opened it up. But one thing I know is McAlpin's fast and seems to be able to handle that Porsche without a lot of trouble. So maybe, just maybe, again, a lot of this race is going to come down to pit stops, right? If I feel like I don't need tires, and look, I'm not one to sit here and tell you what the Porsche does. I've never driven the Porsche. Maybe that Porsche is not going to need tires. Maybe it's a little easier on him than the Audi. Okay? If you're an AM driver like I am, as long as it starts sliding all over the place, it's hard for me to tell the difference. Maybe that's my setup. Maybe that's just because I'm awful. Either way, maybe my tires last the whole time, even though they're horrible by the time I get to the pits, right? And Fam has cleared his required pit stop. So we are good there, and he can now race for the next 42 minutes uninterrupted, should he so choose. McAlpin now has closed the gap to 9.5. Dan 00 Alpha 10 seconds off his pace, with Teehee following it up. Another 4.5 from him. And Chief Blaze, our lone Bentley in the grid today, hanging strong in number 5. So let's go to Kipster, our current race leader. Let's go on board with him as he's just finishing a lap. Let's go on board with him for a full lap at Brands Hatch. And that is it, folks. You get to see a full lap at Brands Hatch with Kipster. And a speedy one at that, at a 127, just over a 127. So excellent, excellent job on for him. Ugh, why can't I get the right camera? There we go. That's what we want. So we jump back out, take a look at where we're at. Red Ryder now into the pits. I'm sure he'll be looking to clear his stop in the 911 Lambo. McAlpin now, that lead has stretched out just a little bit again to a little over 11 seconds. The last we saw with Dan 00 Alpha, 10 seconds off of that. So really, Kipster looking to go into the pits, depending on what he needs to do for fuel, really shouldn't lose maybe one position to McAlpin. I don't see, I mean, again, unless he needs tires and has to take that full 35 or 36 seconds, okay? I don't think we're going to see him lose a position at the Dan 00 Alpha, a total of 22 seconds. But again, that's up to the strategy you need to use when going into the pits in a 1-hour race. Teehee, still holding strong at number 4. Our you know, as we look at the track map down there, and if we bring it up just a little bit, make it a little easier to see, our drivers are well on and spread out. And this always happens, right? This is normal. This is typical. Only 10 drivers, 1-hour race. They're going to spread out, okay? But in doing so, we are going to go back and take a look at Red Ryder and BK Ferrari, because it looks like they are tightening up, and we will see if Red can make a move on BK. Or I'm sorry, if BK can make a move. That's what I thought. Red Ryder's behind BK. Okay. We'll see if Red Ryder can tighten that up on BK a little bit, take another position back. But again, because of how far spread they are, because, you know, we're not going to see a lot of battles right now. What we are going to see is pit strategy. Who's going to get tires? Who's going to get fuel? Who's going to do both? How long does it take? Do they have damage? Do you fix that damage? I think that's why we saw BK and Fam both go into the pits. I mean, Red did have an incident earlier. However, it didn't look bad enough. It certainly wasn't bad enough to make him go into the pits immediately. So more than likely, did he repair damage? Didn't look to me like he was in there that long. Really didn't look like he was in there that long. So that being the case, he's done now as we watch Teehee coming up on the back of Pierre as a back marker, and I'm sure Pierre will be clearing space for him. All these guys holding strong. Very few incidents today. We'll have to see exactly what the review brings in, but with 36 minutes left, and only 3 having cleared their mandatory pits, I don't think, we got a lot of chance for change today. Dan 00 Alpha into the pits now in his McLaren. Going to look to clear that mandatory stop with 36 minutes left. Now, I know if myself, I'd be looking to start clearing my pit stop soon, but that's me. I tend to go in early. I want to get it clear, and then I want to drive the rest of the race, right? Leave me alone. Let me drive. Chief Blaze also heading into the pits in the Bentley, with Blah full 18 seconds behind. Now, Chief here, again, we got to see what the strategy is for these guys, because if Dan ends up doing tires and fuel, maybe Chief's out faster, picks that position back up, right? Able to jump right up there. But Dan has now cleared the mandatory. He is out and on the road, and I don't think that was the full 30 seconds, was it? So did Dan change tires as he comes up along Kipster, or as Kipster comes up along him, I should say? Easily able to make that pass. Kipster giving him the room. Calpin has closed a bit of that gap to 9.6 seconds. You're right, Barsky. The last 10 minutes are going to get very, very curious. Our top 4, along with Pierre, the only 4 to not clear pit stops. Dan, Chief Blaze, both out on track. Look to have opportunity to move up. The question being is, how fast do these 4 run their pits to get themselves back out on track as quickly as possible? Who takes the trade-off of rough tires to try and be in and out as quickly as they can in order to ensure. And it's Litfam back into the pits, sitting now 2 laps back. Don't know if he'll be back out or not as we check in with Red Rider. 18 laps down, 33 minutes left to go. You got to know if you're McAlpin, you're pushing, right? Like, he's got to be pushing. He knows he's got to keep within a certain amount of time between himself and Kipster to have a chance to make that flip. So, again, I'm looking at McAlpin saying, does he just take fuel because he can make those tires last? I don't know the Porsche. So I can't say whether or not the Porsche is going to make it anywhere. It might. You never know. Can he make it on those old worn tires, right? And I apologize, folks, just checking on some stuff here. Had to check on some things. The NWO Alpha holding in 4th with his pit stop cleared. Blah now in the pits, cleaning up. Looks like he's definitely got some scrubs, and we did see him off track at one point. So we'll take a look here and see if he ends up repairing damage Looks like Red Rider has now taken the move on BK Ferrari. We just could not get there in time, unfortunately. But Red Rider making the move, and these guys are going to stick with it. Let's go to BK Ferrari. Try and get to the onboard quickly enough. As he and Red Rider go side by side into the corner. Red squeezing in just a little bit, but then going wide on him. As we catch a glimpse of him in the rear view. BK having to go to the outside, and Red taking the corner back, coming down the last stretch. And I do apologize, folks, if you hear my dogs going absolutely ape. It's because that's what they do when somebody's at the door, so heaven forbid. Red Rider able to hold it through the end of the lap. BK just bringing hard that Porsche, just cranking on the wheel on that Porsche to hold it tight. Trying to go inside on Red. Is he able to take it? He's got side by side again, and Red, the acceleration on that Lambo just enough. Red doesn't have to chop off quite as much speed going around the outside. It's the kind of stuff we wait for, folks. We want to see racing, not driving, right? Red kicking out wide a little bit. Looked like a little bit of a shimmy there. BK able to capitalize and get right again on his bumper. Red hard on the brakes. Coming to that very fast right-hander. Maru, I got 2 labs. One yellow, one chocolate, and Red loses it going off into the sand. Into the sand. Giving the position up to BK Ferrari. Red falling to pressure from BK. And unfortunately just not able to hold on. BK now stretching it out, see where he gets. As we can see, Teehee now into the pits. Kipster has made his pit stop and cleared that mandatory. So we are good there. And again, McAlpin able to take that position, right, but hasn't yet cleared his stop. We weren't watching Kipster. We don't know what he did, but probably get that back after we see McAlpin dive into the pits here sometime soon. But not yet. McAlpin says, nope, I'm going to try and stretch her out a little bit. Let's go back and take a look at Teehee here. Yeah, I don't know what these times are because he's not 0.3 seconds away from anybody. Chief Blaze up into 5th now. Pierre and McAlpin, the only 2 to not yet clear their stops. Chief Blaze running hard into T1. Yeah, I have a yellow and a chocolate lab, brother and sister, and they are homebodies like mom and dad who they're not big on people. They're friendly. I mean, once you get to know them, they're very friendly, but yeah, they don't, till they know you, they're not big on you. As we watch Chief run a little wide out there. Let's go on board with Chief real quick as we bring up our camera change and go check on the rest of the field. Red Rider trying to hold pace with BK. See if he can close that back up and we get another battle out of these two. Always fun to watch. Check in on Pierre, the only Aston on track today. Looks like he has not yet decided to pit. Brother has a silver lab. I don't think I've ever seen a silver lab. It sounds gorgeous, but I don't think I've ever seen one. Must be pretty cool though. It sounds rare because again, I've never seen one. Not that I've seen every lab, but I have to assume. As we check on McAlpin now into the pits, and can he clear before Kipster catches up? Let's keep a nice tight watch here. Where is Kipster on track? Kipster coming around now on the last corner. McAlpin still sitting still. Looks like Kipster's on and around as McAlpin continues to sit in the pits. That tells me he probably had to do that tire change, right? High energy every lab's high energy. Lord, I can't keep these two calm. My boy Maxie wants to play foosball all the time. That's what we call football in this house, foosball. And I go to Walmart and I buy the $5 real footballs. Call them real, whatever, right? The right size. They're like $5, whatever, made of rubber. And I buy like 4 at the beginning of every summer because at some point he puts a hole in it and it goes flat and he needs a new one. So always fun. Pierre now clearing his stop. No doubt we'll see him back out on track. Red's still behind BK, 1.6. So BK not really able to stretch it out very much. But Red also not able to close that gap up at all so far. Other than what we saw when BK went off track earlier, he's been running really, really strong. So provided he can hold on to that, I think Red's going to struggle to catch up with him. Kipster still leading after pit clears, still leading by just under 21 seconds over McAlpin. So again, quite a bit of time to make up, but only 25 minutes to do so, 25 and a half minutes to do so. And with that, 35 minutes left, all pit stops clear. Let's take a look back through our field, folks. Kipster, Audi, number 7, 23 laps in. And again, holding what we just saw was about a 21-second advantage on McAlpin. McAlpin in the Porsche, very strong today, but not able to keep pace with the Audi. Dan 00 Alpha holding 15 seconds back in number 3. Teehee has fought himself up and had interesting times getting up to number 4 with Chief Blaze in the number 420 Bentley rounding out your top 5 so far. Blah, blah, blah. I can't... Is he supposed to be a vampire? Or is it blah, 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 like whatever? Right, like I don't know what that is. Blah, blah, blah. I can't tell, and it bothers me. I do too. Red looks like he ran over 4 people on the way to the track, which I think is just fantastic. Blah in number 6 in that 101 Lexus, I believe our only one running AM class this season. BK Ferrari, we were just talking about with Red Rider now closing that gap, so maybe we'll focus right here for a little bit. But BK Ferrari, the other Porsche on track today, keeping up and ahead of Red Rider's Superfly Lamborghini, with Pierre bringing up the back of the pack in the only Aston today. So let's go back and take a quick look at Red Rider and BK. This is turning into our battle of the race, and we will see if these two, who ends up winning between these two. It's lit, fam. Into the pits, now 9 laps behind. Obviously has decided that there were issues and that he wanted to stay off track. And that's okay, but he should definitely hang around. Should definitely hang around, as points are awarded for every person who finishes the race, even if you do so from the pits. Red Rider now under a second behind BK Ferrari. Now let's take a look at our onboard with him. Not the stupid helmet cam, though. Oh, one too many. What am I doing here? Come on now. And I did it again. Right there. Stop. Don't do it again. Leave this alone as we watch Red. Now, Red has struggled with that corner a couple times today, right? But he held it on with BK. I mean, I'm not saying a perfect corner. What I am saying is he held on to BK the whole time. Currently running a full 10th ahead of his best time today. His last lap being his best time in today's race. He's certainly not playing around and is looking to do everything he can to catch Ferrari, who ironically drives a Porsche, and try and get around him. That is, you know what, Maru, I think that's the hardest corner for me as well. It's just it's such a weird angle, right? You're coming in to go uphill. It's a long corner, and it feels like when you're coming into it, it feels fast, but it's not fast at all. It feels like you should be able to go quicker than you can, and it always throws me off the first couple laps. So definitely, not surprising to see Chief. We saw in the first lap Chief struggled there. We've seen a few other struggles at that corner, and I think a lot of people have problems in that one. Red being patient. We saw BK earlier put the pressure on Red. Red went wide, and now we see him taking up the inside, going into the hairpin, up the hill. Able to claim that corner and has moved himself back into number 7 ahead of BK Ferrari. But I think we all know BK is not going to give up quite that easily, and has been able to hold it, not only hold his own, but be a little bit quicker than Red, I think, on the back, in the back sector. So let's go on board with him and see if he is able to try and take that back. Stupendous move by Red Rider to claim that corner and get around BK. Moved himself up into number 7. Nice clean racing. As we watch now to see if BK can bring it back to him. Tight end, little wiggle, but able to keep control. Which everything I've been told says Porsches like to wiggle. That's okay. Tight on the outside. He's going to be on the outside going into T1. Red able to hold this one. As we watch now both of these guys being back markers to Dan 00 Alpha. BK able to get to the inside. Red tight side by side going down into T3. And again, Red able to hold because he had that inside corner, but not by much. And again, both these guys getting blue flagged right now. Let the battle continue. Dan's going to have to wait a minute. Sorry, bud. And Red goes wide into the grass and comes back in, but BK is able to sneak by. Oh. And again, Red, was that pressure? Right? Was he trying to clear the back marker and getting blue flagged? We're going to have to talk to Red after the race and see exactly what happened there. But another awesome battle between him and BK Ferrari. Super, super clean. And even Red with his re-entry, he tried to get back on track. I think he realized what was going to happen if he did, and we saw his car kick right back out, right? So Red's certainly doing the right thing and clearing a path for what was going on around him at the time. And now we see Red has fallen back behind BK and Teehee at this point, with Teehee coming back up on the rear end of BK Ferrari. And there's maybe, I don't know. Oh, Teehee's number 4. Okay, whatever. Barsky, I don't know though. Red went wide. I don't think he did so under any auspices of anything. You know what I mean? So I don't know that I do give that back. But what I do find interesting right now is BK coming up on Teehee, who's in 4th. BK's in 7th. So who's the back marker, right? Because it looks like they got pace. We're going to have to go back on board with Red Rider here in just a second, folks. He's closed the gap back up to 1 second. Red not giving up today. He says, I will beat BK Ferrari, who drives a Porsche. I will do it. Yeah, he dropped that. I think, he did a little slippy, and that was all it took. But that's twice today we've watched. And again, this is why I want to talk to Red. Was it pressure from BK? Did he feel that pressure? Because that's twice we've had BK right behind him. And twice when Red something has happened as he goes back off into the sand. Red tossing that slower corner at the back half of the track. And that's a shame because I don't think we're going to get another battle out of those two. We might. But that's a shame. Yeah, Red did. Yeah, well, he might have hit sand, but he certainly didn't lose too much time. And he certainly has plenty of time with 17.5 minutes left to make that back up and get back on BK. So we will continue to watch at that. But as we do, let's go check on our race leader, Kipster, blazing in that Audi. Coming up on the back end of Chief Blaze as a back marker. McAlpin still running in his Porsche, number 333. .21 seconds off the pace of Kipster as we wait for timings to come in. Dan 00 Alpha was able to clear Red and BK as back markers and get up there. Still holding on to number 3. Teehee in number 4. Racing very well today and for the most part staying out of trouble, getting left alone. Chief Blaze, number 5 right now. Again, Chief, you know, a little wonky at the beginning of the race, but doing very, very well. Doing an excellent job. Listen, you guys in the chat, if you do me a favor, because if I go screw with it, it's going to make the race minimize on me. If anybody would like to message Red on Discord and BK, I would love for them both to jump over. And after the race, we got a few little I don't even know what I'm trying to say. We got a few little doodads to go after and take a look at anyway. So if either of those guys have time and would like to come in and have a talk about what happened in the great battle, I would love to have them here. Blah, blah, blah. Number 6. Only Lexus in the field today. Good looking car, the Lexus. BK Ferrari has now opened his lead on Red Rider to 4.9 seconds. Just under 16 minutes left in the race. Red certainly has time, and Red is pushing it today. Really trying to ride the edge in that Lamborghini, and has done a great job in battling Ferrari. Was able to get around BK Ferrari, lest anybody get him confused with the car. You know, those two have had some great battles today. Excellent racing. So hopefully Red get back up there in the next 15 minutes, and maybe we get a little more out of it. And we will see. Teehee having gotten around Pierre as the back marker. We'll see if he's able to close gap on Dan 00 Alpha today as well. And we'll start seeing where our gaps form up for that final 10 minutes of race time. Teehee run a little wide. Red now trying to close it up. We had a 5-second gap, now down to 3.8. So again, plenty of time for him to close that gap up and get on the back end of BK again to see if we can get a little bit of battle here. BK Ferrari coming up on the rear end of Pierre. Blue flag. Pierre lets him scoot on by. And depending on where it hits on the track, hopefully Red doesn't lose any time. I know Pierre, again, Pierre's such a great racer, man. Dude just slides out of your way. He's like just awesome about it. Red pushing hard, cutting that curve, just bringing it and trying desperately to get back up on the back end of BK Ferrari. I think he wants the battle, right? It's not even about the position at this point. I think Red knows because, again, every battle these guys have had that we've watched, both battles ended the same way. Clean, no pushing, no bumping, no screwing around. Straight up BK putting the pressure on Red, and Red pushing the car too hard, losing grip, sliding off somewhere, either going wide or catching himself in a slide. And look at Pierre, just that perfect move. He knows he's no danger to these guys. He lets them on by. And Red able to get by in a great part of the track. So that's the thing, right? We've had some great battles. I think Red at this point, he wants the battle, right? He wants to get back up there and show that look, I can get around. I've gotten around him twice. But BK's a racer, right? So he's put the pressure back on me. And I've folded a little bit under that pressure. And I want this battle back because I want the position and I want to hold it until the end of the race. So again, pushing that Lamborghini right out and trying to get up to BK. And the last number we had was 2.8 seconds off the pace, and that's going to stay the same through the back here. "100% not over yet." Unfortunately, we don't get to see, to you guys talking in the chat, we don't get to see, who has done what when, but we are going to try and get back on board with Red Rider. As we go again, guys, third battle of the race, third time's a charm. Red pushing that Lamborghini. BK opening up on the straight into T1, but as we learned during the last battle, that is not the end of it. "11 minutes left." Red getting a little squirrely, coming in hot on that very, very difficult left-hander. Not an easy corner at all. Red is on dry one, so he has not changed tires, Barsky says. And yet, without that tire change, was able to catch up and close the gap on BK. Now the only thing is, just to take a quick look, as we switch over to BK. BK also on dry one, meaning no tire change, I assume, correct? Barsky? And BK runs wide, and Red Rider is up and gone into that corner. Red Rider now opening it up, so BK this time making the error and letting Red Rider slip by, and Red able to stretch it out, giving himself a nice little gap going into the last 10 minutes of this race. Admiral Hollow, what's going on? Welcome to the race, sir. Catching us in the last 10 minutes, this is when it always gets exciting. Red Rider 2.7 over Ferrari at that point. BK losing a lot of time with that trip to the sandbar. Now down to a 2.5. Chief Blaze out doing his thing in the Bentley. Plenty of room around him. No reason to not just drive for the rest of this race. And same with Kipster. 34 laps down. Kipster, an amazing race today. Able to qual second, right? Immediately off T1, gets himself into first and has not let go of it since, except during pit maneuvers. Pit changes, I should say. Really opened up a huge gap over number 2 McAlpin at this point. And McAlpin with a 22-second lead over Dan 00 Alpha. So unlike the pro race we watched so far, right? Because that could change. Something could happen. Obviously, we got 8.5 minutes left, folks. Plenty of time for racing left. But what we saw during the pro race was, Nat JB able to close a 15-second gap all the way down to 0.7 seconds for the end of the race. Today in AM class, not so much. 24-second advantage right now for Kipster over McAlpin. Only 8 minutes left. McAlpin kicking up a little dirt. Going to be hard to close that gap, right? And Dan 00 Alpha, another 23 seconds, 23 and a half seconds back from McAlpin at this point. In fact, it looks like, to me, that only our top 5 are all on the same lap. We're showing Blah, number 6, 2 laps back. Red Rider now 17 back. BK Ferrari has closed that down to a 2.3 second gap. Guys, I'm telling you, we're going to end up watching these guys battle for the 4th time today. 4 times. Just fantastic. BK is going to catch him. They did, but yep, they had identical times on qualification, now a 21-second gap. But I think McAlpin had an issue. I think he went off track that really opened it up. And look, Pro-Am, doesn't matter. Everybody knows once that error happens, you don't drive the same after that, right? It's not the same race anymore. You're a little more cautious. You're a little more reserved, maybe. You don't want to make the same error again, unless you're Red Rider, because he is just killing it with trying to keep ahead of BK today and really pushing when he does fall behind to catch back up with him. But again, it's a little bit different, right? You make that error, and it's just a little bit different that maybe allowed Kipster to open that gap up so wide. Because we did see Alpin lose at least some time due to some sort of incident, whether we actually caught it on camera or not. That gap from Red Rider to BK now down to 1.9 seconds. Folks, if that gets down to 1 second, we're going back to BK. We're going on board. And we're going to watch our 4th battle of the day. And I think we're going to be down to 1 second here real soon. The last 2 laps had very little grip to both left tires. Would not surprise me on this track. And we see their gap is opened back up now to 2.7 seconds. BK following just a little bit back and now off into the grass as he floats through the air like some sort of fantastic angel. But obviously going to set him way, way back off red now with just under 5 minutes remaining in our AM class round 3 at Brands Hatch for Green Hell season 7. McAlpin making T1 look like a drift track, and again, to your point, Barsky, you know, tires are a huge factor now, and every one of these guys, I have a feeling, if we went in and looked and we went from driver to driver to driver, I'm willing to bet most of them are still on their first pair of tires. Every one of them wanted to save that time in the pits, right? Let's see if we can even do that. I don't even know if it's possible. We're going to obviously have to do a lot of jumping around, but Kipster on dry 1. McAlpin, dry 1, right? I think we're going to see a pattern here, guys. Dan 00 Alpha hanging in 3rd, dry 1. So AM drivers, so far, Teehee on dry 1, coming up to come make the pass on the back marker, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Red just sighed and unclenched his butt cheeks for a minute. Chief Blaze, what did Chief Blaze do? Chief Blaze is on dry 1. I hope you're right about this tire thing, or we're just making assumptions, but I have a feeling you're right. Right? Dry 1 for Blah. In that good-looking Lexus. Red Rider and BK, we know, both stayed on those tires. Pierre didn't go in the pits. He just kind of said, I'm going to park it over here and see what happens, I guess. I don't know. That's a weird place to park. Kipster holding on 38 laps in. 3 minutes left to race today, folks. As we know from the pro race, that's about 3 laps left. Yeah, it's true, Maru. I mean, we don't really know if that number updates or not. It'd be curious to ask the guys on Discord who changed tires and who didn't. You know, take a little poll and see if some, you know, if there are certain ones who did and who did not. You know, we try and keep an eye on pit times here, but it's not easy to keep up with everybody when they're in the pits and how long that actually takes. I don't have a stopwatch, so. Well, that's weird. Oh, 421. That's why Pierre is 421. I was getting confused looking at the map. So again, 2:17 left in our race today, folks. 39 laps in for Kipster, running a number 1 in the number 7 Audi. McAlpin now well on and back, and we'll wait here and take a look at this gap as we wind down with 2 minutes left in today's race. Again, 1 hour is not easy. Not easy, especially at these temperatures. 46 Celsius track temperature today. 24 seconds, Kipster's now opened that lead up on McAlpin. And McAlpin heads into the sand. Everybody's tires are getting weak at this point. Really not easy to keep control. But McAlpin with plenty of lead over Dan Double Alpha to be able to take a trip into the sand and not have it cost him too much. Teehee only 3.7 off of Dan. So again, I don't know, 126 left. He's down to about his last 1 or 2 laps. We're not going to really see much movement there. And as we see Chief Blaze finishing top 5 today, holding on tight and minding his business. Blah, the full 25 seconds back from Chief from what I just saw. Red Rider in number 7 in the 911 Lamborghini with that death race type livery he's got. Again, I'm sorry, but it looks like he hit somebody with the front of the car and they literally slid down the roof as he was on his way to the race today. BK Ferrari now 12 seconds back from Red after his incident of going wide and losing control. And as we see Pierre now maybe on the move, he might have fallen asleep. We're not really sure. But that's okay. You know what? Pierre's keeping himself out of the way. For some reason, doesn't want to go into the pits. That's okay. Just stay out of the way because we're watching racing as Kipster comes around on his final lap. 40 laps today, guys. 21 seconds left as we watch these guys come around and finish their race today. We will follow Kipster around. No battles to watch, so we will follow Kipster around and catch each of these guys as they cross. So again, very different from the pro race that we saw earlier today. And again, I was only able to catch glimpses of that, but very different race here. Nat JB able to tighten that up by a 15-second gap and bring it into within 1 second, right about 0.7 seconds, 7/10 of a second by the end of that race. Today, Kipster running away with it, McAlpin having a little bit of trouble, and Kipster able to just own today's amateur race at Brands Hatch. And again, this is round 3 of Green Hell Season 7. As we get ready for week 4 and 5, and after that, we will be back for the endurance race. And there you have it, Kipster, number 1, finishes Brands Hatch. Having qualified second, is able to finish Brands Hatch in first position. McAlpin in the Porsche, able to hold on wobbly tires, on slippy tires, slippy tires in the Porsche for number 2, and just said, the hell, I'm done, and I'm gonna bounce off as many things as possible after going across the line. Dan Double O Alpha coming into the final corner now. We see BK Ferrari has finished his race in number 8. Chief Blaze finished up in number 5. And guys, if you stick with me for a minute again, we're going to go back and we'll jump out and take a look at a couple of these replays, see if we can catch some things that happened up front of the race and add that here to the end. Blah, blah, blah. And Red Rider now up on the back end of Blah. The gap does not tell the whole story. But it looks like Blah will be able to hold his position at number 6 with Red coming in at number 7. BK Ferrari number 8. Oh my God, no. Red Rider sneaks around Blah at the last second to take 6th. Oh my goodness, if I am Blah, I'm losing my shit. I'm losing my mind right now because you know he thought he had it. He had no clue that Red was there. 0. He thought he could let off the gas coming out of that corner. That or his tires were so bad he had to. One of the two. There's no way he knew Red was there and let up like that. No way. None whatsoever. That was amazing. Red Rider squeaking in number 6 right at the end. As we go back out here and take a look, let's go into our gallery. I'm going to have to clear some of these, but we do have 3 to review. So, folks in the chat, you got to remind me, when I took the first replay, I forget who we were going to look at. We're going to jump up here. I think it was Chief. Who's that?
See,
Dude.
I think he ran out of fuel.
Oh, no kidding.
It must have been because he had like 10 seconds up on me, and then all of a sudden I'm running up his tailpipe.
Yeah, like we caught you right at the end, man. Oh, there it was. Chief giving Teehee the nudge, and I think if we go back and look, I think Chief missed his break point because he came ripping down that hill awful fast.
Well, there were some guys that had some awkward break points.
Yeah, no, for sure. But listen, man, I'm glad you're here because I wanted to talk to you, and I told the people to hit you up on Discord because I wanted, you and BK, man, what's up?
I know.
But here's the thing. This is what I want to talk to you about because you got, listen, super clean, dude. Neither one of you that we saw from what what we were watching, neither one of you touched the other one. Super clean. And
I think we had different lines, and I think my line might have been faster for his car.
Okay.
Because I would catch him, pass him, and then I couldn't pull away from him.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if my line was a little different than his, and he'd start following me. Because I couldn't get away from him. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, dude. Because every time you'd get around him, super clean, and it was awesome. But then he'd be right up on you the whole time. It was crazy.
Right, yeah, like I said, I think it was a lines thing. If he would have ridden my line, I probably would have never caught him. But
Okay.
like when he would get behind me, I couldn't lose him, so.
Unbelievable. But it just seemed like, and I felt bad because I'm like, oh, Red fell to the pressure twice. Because you'd no more than get around him and be going great, and the next thing you knew, like he was around you again and you were off into the dirt. You ended up out in the toolies. So it was really hard to say, exactly what was going on, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I saved replays just to review stuff at the end of the race, and now I don't remember. I gotta start writing shit down. That's what it comes down to. Well, I do, because I saved the replay. I'm like, oh, something happened there. We should go back and look at it. But then I forget who was involved, so I don't know what car to put it on. Like, because I'm an idiot. Oh, well. But yeah, man, I wanted you to come on because you guys had the best racing of the AM class today. 100%.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wish I wouldn't have made the mistake and pinched down on. I gotta apologize to It's Lit fam. That was on me. That wasn't on him.
We did see that was one of the ones I saved too because I couldn't tell. Actually, I think that's the last. Whoops. I think that was the last one I saved because I couldn't tell if it almost looked like you lost control. Like I was afraid. I was honestly afraid, and I didn't say. What's your car number, Red? 1, right? No.
Lap wise, I thought it was 2 or 3.
911. There we go. I think this is one of the ones we saved where you pinched Litz fam because honestly I got nervous that your controller had disconnected like it did last week.
Oh.
I really did because it looked like you just whipped over all of a sudden.
Yeah, I tried. I thought I had it.
just being a
thought
dick.
I was clear. Thought I left him enough room, and I didn't. And I saw him come up. It was like technically, legally, I have way past him.
Okay.
But it would also be a douche move to do what I did. It wasn't on purpose, but I mean, technically, I had the spot
Gotcha.
because I had claimed it quarters of the way through the corner back there, past me through the wheel.
Yeah, because you're inside, and there's where you and like I said, man, the way you came out,
right?
It looked like your controller disconnected. Seriously.
Yeah, I could see that. Because I mean, yeah, I thought I had it.
Nope. And Chief, what happened to you, man? I just heard him. I know he's there.
That first
Yeah, the first
turn I was
that first lap. What happened? So you came hammering down into, I think it was Teehee in T2, or I'm sorry, T3, and then you went super wide and destroyed signs in T4, man. What's up with that?
well, I couldn't, my wheel wasn't turning left. My rotation was all messed up, but I was on the inside of Teehee and he broke super early while everyone was going through that corner, so I just hit him because I wasn't planning on braking there. And then I was going to give him the position back and just miss that corner completely because my wheel didn't want to turn. But
did you get it fixed? I mean, you finished the race. You did well today.
I mean,
number 5, right?
His rotation was off at one point.
His
I hit
rotation's
the wrong
been-
button, so my rotation went to the wrong thing.
Listen, his rotation's been off for as long as I've known the man. I mean,
Dude, it resets. Like when we go to qualifying to race, it resets every time for some reason. I don't know
that's
why.
weird. Unbelievable.
But yeah,
oh,
I finished fifth, so whatever.
Well, I wanted you two to jump in here. I knew I wanted Red in here because I wanted to find out how the battle with BK felt because you guys battled what, like 4 times, and then
Did you see like at the end? Did he lose like his tires? Did he not take tires? Because I took tires because I was so freaking.
Okay, well,
slippery.
I'm glad you answered that question because the guys in the chat and I were talking, and every driver, when I would focus on a certain driver and go to drive, right, where it's just the camera, they all said dry 1. So we weren't sure if that was not updating or if everybody stayed on their original tires. So you just answered that question. It doesn't update.
I know.
You changed tires. Okay.
Pretty sure damn near everyone took tires.
Okay. I don't know, man. It got squirrelier and squirrelier by the end, right? Like there was a lot more sliding towards the end of the race than there was the beginning. But again, it depends on what. Red, you pitted way early too.
I had damn. The last time I passed him, he just drove off the track essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He went shooting off into the. He didn't hit anything, but he did go pretty far off track. And then the end. I mean, I always try and hit, whoever's in number 1 as we watch everybody come across the finish line. And we get down where, it's Red and it was Blah, I think, right? All of a sudden, like, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be able to hold on to that. Like Red's like half a second back into the last corner. He's good. And then all of a sudden, the camera swings around and you're like, right by him before the checkered flag, and I'm like, holy shit, Red got him. Like, what the hell just happened here? It was awesome. But I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta get back upstairs, and I've had 2 drinks during today's race, so it's time for a PMP. But I'm glad I was able to do the pro race. Thank you to Red and Chief again.
Me too. That was awesome.
I'm glad you guys were able to do the pro race because I couldn't today, and you guys sounded great, and I always like listening to you. So many thanks. And what's next week's track, Red? I don't have the.
I don't know either. Cause I'm gonna jump on there.
Hold on. Maybe I'll bring it up.
I'm pulling it up. I'm just slow.
Yeah, me too.
It is not that.
It is what?
Not that. It is Barcelona, I believe. 18th of July, Barca.
All right. So Barcelona next week, folks. We will be back. There are still 2 more races in this season 7, and then we go into qualification for the endurance. I assume, Red, that the endurance this season is the same 2-hour stints?
As far as I know.
Okay.
As far as I know, we're not changing. I mean, I could always change, but as far as I know, that's the plan.
Excellent, because I cannot wait to cover this year's. I will actually get to cover the full 4 hours, and it's going to be phenomenal.
I think I will be joining because nobody wants to around kilometers 2 hours.
Perfect, man.
I hate that track.
Not a problem. Y'all come on, and we will have a great time covering all that. We'll probably set up a stream for the qualification as well. Watch that for a little while, even though that's typically pretty short. But again, Chief, Red, thank you so much. Thanks for everybody for watching. We'll be back next week for Barcelona. So be sure to tune in here. And I have nothing going on, so I'll be here for both races.
All right. Hey, have fun going up there and cock blocking, okay?
What's that? Yeah, I'm going to go up there and take care of that.